Welcome to Mia the Passion Muse Show. I'm Mia Saenz, your host, and joining me again is Daniel Hill. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi,
Our last segment that we spoke of was love versus evil, and Daniel is an NLP coach, and so we're going to get to learn all about the special nuances of that. I'm particularly interested because I've been told by a man I used to date that my ego is a little high at times, and so I want to control it. I've worked a lot, and I think that there's that word, because one of the things about ego is control, and so I, of course, like everyone, wants our life to be in perfect harmony, so perhaps I control too much. So, Daniel, we left off in another segment that we were so blessed to share of love versus ego. We were talking about, when we left off, about how my thoughts were. I wanted people to truly understand about feeling what they're reading and understanding as opposed to just spouting words. And you had said on the sideline that it's a perfect space or place for them at the moment. And that was an opening to me to realize and be grateful that we are, as I know, and as a coach I also know, we all are in our own place. I just think that it's beautiful how you presented that. And so if you don't mind talking about that a little bit, and then you were also going to add some stuff about the Mayans in your thought process, in our pre-interview for this show.
Okay. Specifically, set me off, because I talked about so much. Okay. So what do you want me to specifically say?
I had mentioned to you that I was feeling a little frustrated that people were being boisterous with their thought process that about the awakening process and becoming evolved, where it sounds like they're spouting words from others rather than feeling it from their heart and having it flow out. Because when we are in touch with the divine, when we are in perfect balance with the divine, it flows through us. We're just a vessel.
Right.
And then there's ones who we want to bring along with us, because the whole process is sharing our hands, holding our hands out for those to join us. We don't leave anyone behind, because that's not love. So I appreciated that you had mentioned to me that they're at the right stage of learning for them at that moment, and that was beautiful to see. So in that right stage, I was explaining how I wanted, which is probably not quite love-based because then I'm expecting something from someone, but I would love humanity to feel it from their heart outward.
Okay. Well, allow it to unfold. So there's that would suggest that you would wish to spur them on and wake them up, and to move them further forward, and to end their suffering and thus end yours by becoming there's a more an awakened shift. The only way it will work is through you personally awakening and a letting go of your own agenda. Because if there's nothing to, you even said this about clients, if there's nothing to fix, because you don't fix anybody, we don't fix anybody. In fact, one of the lovely things from NLP, which actually Richard Bandler said, is that I don't fix anyone. I'm just giving people a greater expansion of their consciousness. So if we were to truly allow ourselves to expand our own consciousness, we would begin to let go and see that everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't take any action and that we don't participate in anything. But if we wish to teach, then teach and share, which is what love would do. So share knowledge and wisdom. And share what you have experienced. You know, the Gospels in the Bible means good news. So share your good news. Share what it is that has worked for you, that you feel and you're aware of. But come from here. Because the people who will listen are the people who are ready to listen. In the same as the proverb, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You cannot get those students to pay attention and listen in class if they do not want to. But what you can do is make the lesson really interesting. And what you can do is make it fun. And what you can do is engage them as much as you can. Because really, it's one great big classroom. We're all teachers, and we're all students. I had a conversation with a good friend yesterday about guru, and guru is just Sanskrit for teacher. And to want to be a guru, or if you are a guru, if you end up getting into the ego of that you are a guru and you're there.
We're never there.
You're never there, exactly. And the fact that we're always learning, and that even those who are most awake, I think even Nelson Mandela, I heard a few years ago, was saying, I'm still learning every day. So it's to be open to that, and to... I love the metaphor. This is a lot of NLP. Is actually I use it with my clients, which is using a hell of a lot of metaphor, which the unconscious really enjoys and really understands. If you're trying to communicate something to somebody, if you break something quite complex down into sort of, I don't know. Look, imagine that I'm making a sandwich, and we've got consciousness as the bread, and we've got spirituality as the filling, and we've got I don't know. I'm just playing with words now, but it would be keeping it simple, which is what I like doing as well.
Keeping it simple, as you said, exactly, because if we make it more complex, like as we go back to the original question or concept that I presented to you, when people start to, I believe people need to study everybody, not just one. And as you said about guru, I love that, because I tell people I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student, because I'm always, just as you said, I'm always learning. I learn from my students, so thus they become my teacher and I become, we switch roles. And when you're in complete perfect harmony, that's the way it is. And I know the missing ingredient for your sandwich, it's love.
Oh, well, of course it is.
That's the mayonnaise.
That's the mayonnaise. Okay, absolutely.
The mayonnaise.
The dairy-free mayonnaise.
That's
absolutely.
Right.
It's the thing that gives it its specialness.
That's right. So, NLP, if you can explain for those who are interested and say, wow, there's a three-letter, what does it mean and what is it all about, and I don't want to be afraid of it, because sometimes in the spiritual growth people go whoa, because they're a little bit nervous. Some people say giddy up, give it to me right now, and some just say back off for a few minutes because they don't understand. So share with us what NLP is.
NLP, it means neuro-linguistic programming. I don't particularly like that long name, but that's what it is. And neuro means brain, linguistic means language, and programming is suggesting that you're able to reprogram something. Anthony Robbins, who I studied for quite a long time, has his own version. He did it to prevent himself getting sued from the co-creators of NLP, namely Richard Bandler, but he calls this neuro-associative conditioning. But let's stick with NLP. NLP, well, there's many things under NLP. There's many. It's huge in that you could talk about it all day. But simplifying NLP, it means that nothing is fixed. It means that the map is not the territory, which means that as our brain says yes or no to certain things of what is possible and what is not possible. NLP is saying that our brain is the thing that creates the map. The territory is reality. And we could never experience, while looking at a map, what it's really like in reality. So let's say you look at a map and, you know, you're going to go on a walk somewhere and you say, well, we're going to walk from there to there and we can only get from there and we can get to there. And, you know, but when you're actually in reality, you go, well, actually, we could climb that fence and we could go here and we could go there. So it's the wiring of our brain through conditioning and through trauma and through our learning that suggests what is possible and what isn't possible, and what is painful and what is pleasurable. So through using a variety of techniques, of which language is one, you can help someone to expand their model of the world and thus expand their consciousness of what is possible.
Beautiful. Isn't that what we do almost every day, those who are in the spiritual realm working and striving? So,
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. When I came into it, I kind of was learning it and thinking, this is common sense. And I remember speaking to the guy who was teaching me, and I think I was his star pupil because I'd done a lot of I'd listened to a lot of stuff already on this. So many audio programs, DVDs, things on the internet, books, and absolutely, it was created in the 1970s by Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder, and they were studying therapists, three namely, really. So Virginia Satir, Gregory Bateson, Fritz Perls, and Dr. Milton Erickson, who was a psychiatrist, who was using hypnosis really to clinical hypnotherapy to facilitate change in his clients. And they were all going about it in a different way in order to be able to create change in people. And that was a bit weird because one therapist would work a certain way in order to create change and was getting change, and another one was going the other direction in order to create change. But effectively, they were facilitating the shift within somebody's unconscious to expand their consciousness and to expand their awareness of what is possible. And it's since been taken into management training, it's in advertising, it's in marketing, and it's evolved so much more from its therapeutic home and birth. It was there before the 1970s in variety of forms, and that's my interpretation of it. And yes, there's many people in spirituality who are well aware of that, with the understanding of quantum physics as well, that we are energy, everything is energy, you just have to align the energy, as in the law of attraction. Like attracts like, and so thus you can create your own reality. That's really big now and has got taken off. But NLP was particularly, it's still big, and it is still very well known throughout the world. Probably less so than hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And EFT is really big now. I do EFT, but the grounding that I've had and the understanding in NLP enables me to be able to create shifts in clients, partly because I come from a place of knowing the reality that the person is speaking about is phenomenally limited and limiting. And so I see that client with their outcome having been manifested and realized already. Now, if you go about facilitating a shift within somebody with the utter conviction that they have the resources already, which is one of the presuppositions from NLP, to facilitate that shift within, guess what? They're more likely to create that shift.
They are.
Because
Absolutely.
you're believing in them, but also you're believing in the concept of what reality really is. And that is, it is just infinite. It's a playground.
I
It's
have
just
been
it.
doing NLP with my clients and not even
I'm
knowing
sure
it.
you have.
because
I'm sure you have.
because exactly, it's what's reality, what aligning to the divine, aligning to who we are, to our higher self. It's all there. That's really beautiful.
It's also, there's a lot to do with language and the way that you use language, and you can use it quite hypnotically. And you can use it to persuade others, as it's used in marketing and in sales. But I use it for the therapeutic context in order to expand someone's possibilities. And usually when someone comes to coaching or therapy, they have a great deal of limitation. And so
their belief is limited.
Absolutely. It's all about beliefs. That's
is.
the thing with NLP.
Yes.
It's the consciousness an individual's consciousness is made up of a sum of beliefs. Some of those will be very positive and some of those will be very limiting. And of course there's another consciousness which is like a spiritual consciousness as well. That, maybe you're not your body and that you're, an essence, or you're bigger, but bigger than just, or you're more than just head mind.
Right.
But NLP is very freeing, and it's the study of possibilities and the facilitation of possibilities.
Right. Works together to benefit the blessing of one, to grow, and to stop the suffering that, even us in our everyday life, we have moments of despair or suffering. It's just how quickly we know our belief system and can change and shift out of it.
Right.
And I like that. Now, here's an interesting concept, if I can ask you, and we can share back and forth here. You spoke before briefly about, if they want to sit in meditation or their thought process, that's fine with them. I actually encourage that, but for a limited time, not for an extended time. 20 minutes, 5 hours a day, 2 days max. And then you move on, depending on how much a person feels, I guess, the depth of their problems. Because I feel also that as an experiential work that we have to do in order to shift, that we do need to live within that space. It can be 5 minutes. It depends on the depth of what it is. If it's the loss of a mate, or if it's, we're talking about not frustration in the grocery store, or not frustration that I ate that spaghetti plate of whatever, or I didn't work out today. But if it's, recreating our life, or dealing with the loss of a partner or a family member or whatever it is, I believe we should honor ourselves with that sense, because it all becomes experiential, which is how we make those shifts and they don't return. Or we can go back and say, I remember when my father died and that feeling I felt, but you know what the glory is I now have the beauty of all the beautiful memories, and he's right here with me. So I don't have to suffer his loss because he's here.
Right.
That's just a brief example. So.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Yeah. And meditation is incredibly important because we're stilling and bringing ourselves into the here and now, which is where it all is. Can't get any better than the here and now. It's never going to get any better than the here and now, even though the ego will always think that tomorrow or the next moment is the best thing. So bringing yourself home is vitally important, and we will only feel home when we're actually in the here and now.
Right. I love that, because home is here within.
Absolutely.
It is within us. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to ever live without other beings around us and sharing and giving, but truthfully, I think we could if we had to, because home is within.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, before you started talking about meditation, it may be that somebody has an awakening shift and they say, you know what, I need to go to Tibet for a year or two and meditate. Maybe. You know, I had an ex who went to an ashram, and she stayed there for a long time. Can't remember how long it was, but it was a long time. Right. And she felt a calling to do that, and that was part of her journey.
I agree with that. When you said 7 years, I giggled, because every year I take 2 months to meditate. I take 2 months because it realigns all my aspects of what, over my hard work, my being prolific within a year, I start to fade by the end of the year. And if I don't keep up on my minute by minute meditation and stuff, or my minute and minute alignment to the divine, which is who I am and how I speak, I love to take that time to do that. And sometimes the universe actually forces it upon me. And so now I just say, this is exactly what I do. Either in January or February, I'll take 2 months, and it's me. So I just like to honor that moment of meditation, no matter if it's when I go on a show, I meditate for a moment or two, because I want to clear myself as a vessel. And people become fearful of the word meditation, especially when they're in a religion in the four walls, because they think that it's something not natural. When I share with them, when I've actually spoken to clergy people, it's just like picking out all the chaotic thoughts and making it clear so you can actually speak to the divine in the beauty, not begging, not pleading, but you're speaking and listening. You're listening. You're asking those deep questions. This time when I went into meditation, it was so fantastically beautiful, because I had blocked out my childhood for so long, and I was like, I'm not going to deal with it. And then I started to deal with it, and I got into a relationship 2 years ago, and I thought, wow, this is really good timing. So I pushed it aside again, and during these 2 months, I went into meditation. Then I already had my questions out, and what came back to me was astronomically mind-blowing. So it can benefit us. Everybody's different, because not everybody has to do that, but I cherish or honor myself to allow myself that space. And it's beautiful that your former person did the same thing for herself. And if it took longer than the norm, 6 months to a year to get over, it's something that her soul needed. And that's part of it, too. We have to listen to our soul. Our soul is here to teach us, teach the human aspect, because the soul knows all. And if we connect to that and we remember who we are, we're allotted that in that space of meditation and quietness and moments where we don't go out. And I've changed my life totally. I'm from the party girl to this, to enjoying... to just enjoy thinking and being philosophical, and even with myself.
Right.
So
through meditation, really? Through
meditation also. Well, I consider any type of meditation is so much. When I swim, and I'm when I used to swim like a mile, I would get into a meditative zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I go on my walks, I meditate. And sometimes I'll hear Eckhart Tolle's stuff go through my head, and I'll just start crying, because I'm looking at nature I look at things in a different light than most people. And I believe that as we become more conscious of ourselves, that our five senses, or our senses, are not the human senses, but it's a sense of the light is so gorgeous, and the color on the trees are phenomenal, and I hear the birds, or I hear the wind, and I hear the ocean, and the breeze on my skin I can feel, and I can smell the glory of what Mother Nature has created. And so it's really encompassing everything. And so everything can be meditative. I mean, just about. That's what I have been speaking a lot on lately, is it's not just in the traditional, stage like that. I never get into a cross-legged pose and do this for hours with my back stiff. I'm like flat as a board. I'll lie down, and I either sometimes don't put on soundscape music, or I do. And it's all getting in touch with listening to what my higher self has to tell me, what it wants me to learn, what it wants me to grow.
Right. Absolutely, and that can come while you're washing the dishes. That can come when
Exactly.
you're. That can come while you're riding the tube. As if you're closing your eyes and you're listening to the sound of the tube going past, or the train, yeah, it's actually so life becomes a meditation.
It does. It
And
does.
I started to crave more and more stillness and me time and alone time and
Yes.
just a lot of solitude. So I began to expand my consciousness that way and really appreciate the here and now and nature. And I get moments like that. I get moments where I get really overwhelmed at just how beautiful everything is. And it's like I'm thrown into the here and now where things become more expansive than like it sounds kind of crazy really, but it's like, look at this tree.
Yes,
Or
right.
look at my car, look at the engineering behind it. And there's some moment of like, whereas all that focus has been future based or even past based, but it's suddenly
It's a
much
huge
more
burst.
present.
Doesn't it feel like a huge burst of love? Sometimes you just totally get teary-eyed. Even a girlfriend who I do business with, she's also a meditation coach, and she said, Mia, lately I cry all the time. She said, I don't know what is up with me. And she said that one of the doctors in a clinic that she does meditation for on the beach, she said maybe there's something wrong with my tear ducts. And I said, honey, it's that you're in tune with yourself more. You're enjoying the full essence of the divine, of who you truly are. That everything becomes now. The power of wow, right here, right now.
It's a symptom of spiritual awakening, actually, to
Yes.
have those moments where you start feeling more truly alive.
Yes.
and living very presently. So tears can be a symptom of that, and often we think that it's is it a symptom of insanity? You know, what am I doing? But actually, you start to awaken to that everyone else really is insane, and that
Well, we're all different. You know, they say there's
well,
only.
of course,
They say there's
absolutely
only.
we are, but it's this again, this dropping of agenda where you feel sort of, you know, you're not wanting to get anywhere, you're not wanting to impress anybody, you're not
Right.
wanting to control anything. You're not to feel secure from something. You're just absolutely here, perfect, and that everything is perfect. Everything's perfectly unfolding.
Yes.
Everyone's perfectly where they are. Even the ones in suffering, that they're still learning. The ones who have died, they're perfect, okay. And it's not.
Yes.
It's everything. Just is this great thing of that. I'm just like almost like a pair of eyeballs looking out from space, looking back on just this growth and
Right.
evolution
Right.
and expansion. And with each age or year or each moment that passes, there's a greater expansion of consciousness within humanity,
It's beautiful.
and of which you and I are part of.
Right.
And this interaction between you and I will have ripples in whatever effect, you know, long after we have finished talking, and even in 50 years or 100 years' time, even if this video is long gone, the ripples of the effect that it might have changed within somebody through having some little light bulb moment or little
Right.
penny dropping moment or something,
Right.
where they become more awake.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
I've
you.
loved it very much. And we'll see you
Thank you.
all next week. I'm here with Daniel Hill, and our information will be on in the credits. Thank you so much. Welcome to Mia the Passion Muse Show. I'm Mia Saenz Whitmore, your host, and joining me again is Daniel Hill. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi there, Mia.
Hello. So we spoke of
Like, you got to do that again. The big tail was there.
Yeah.
I was going, I couldn't keep a straight face. Bless.
Oh my goodness. Okay.